Hey everybody, welcome back to Ramble Review. I'm Casper, this is Tom,
Hey,
and today we're talking about Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. So, we're talking about Army of the Dead, just come out on Netflix, so nice and easy for everyone to access.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. With all the with all the cinemas being like shut for the last year, it's quite refreshing in a weird way to have like loads of releases come out on Netflix.
Yes.
So you don't actually have to. Although nothing will beat the cinema experience. It's convenient, isn't it? Just so you can just log on and watch a film and watch a new release.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm glad I saw this at home.
Yeah.
It's a long motherfucker.
Yeah, it's long.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really shocked. I didn't even know it was going to be that long until I started watching the film.
Yeah.
And then like loaded it up and it was like 2.5 hour runtime. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a zombie film.
Yeah, first hot take. It dragged for me. You know, I recently watched Dawn of the Dead to get me ready for this. Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 shopping mall zombie film. You've probably all seen it. You know, again by Zack Snyder.
His first away into the zombie genre.
Yeah, his first offering to the zombies. So watched that the other day. That was, I think it's like an hour and a half, say.
Yeah, quite possibly.
But it flew by. It literally flew by.
Mm-hmm.
But this film, it definitely to me felt like a zombie film, a heist movie, and an action film squashed into one runtime. I wasn't prepared for that. I was prepared for more of a kind of cohesive experience, and it didn't gel for me. They felt like separate. You know, all of those things separately were okay in the film. Yeah. It was quite a good action film. Mm-hmm. It was an okay zombie film, and it was a meh heist film. Yeah,
I think in a sort of way, I thought for me it did work.
Okay.
I thought going back to the runtime, I think they definitely could have cut a lot from the start or made the start quite a bit snappier, because it's sort of, you know, obviously we got introduced to the zombie right at the start, which was a good setup.
Yeah.
But then there was a lot of Dave Bautista, Scott, his character, sort of like
he's
working. Love him. He's great in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Batista, yes, that Batista, the wrestler Batista, who you might know from Guardians of the Galaxy, but yeah, that Batista, cut to shot of him pile driving someone.
I was counting all the wrestling moves like during the when they're in the casino, like running over like the tables and stuff, and just like slamming them down and stuff. I was like, wrestling moves there. Yeah. That's where the experience comes in. But go back to the start. I think a lot of the sort of setup, with the sort of like refugee camp they have like just outside of the perimeter. A lot of that probably could have been cut down a bit, because
Zack Snyder trying to do human bits.
Yeah.
But he's lost his touch for human bits now. He's a superhero boy now. Yeah, so you like you're saying, there's a lot of time taken up in that first half of the film. It's 50 minutes before we get into Vegas.
Yeah, we'll touch on the plot for a bit. So pretty simple premise. There's been a zombie outbreak in Vegas. They've managed to quarantine the sort of like city sort of centre area of Vegas. Yeah. And they're planning on effectively nuking the whole, like the government's planning on just nuking the whole of Vegas. Yeah. So they can be, rid of the zombies.
So we're maybe it doesn't specify, but we're maybe a couple of years on from Vegas going to shit. They've now walled it off with containers. Yeah. Like shipping containers, quickest way they could wall it off.
Yeah, they've walled it off, and then we're introduced to Scott, our main character, is played by Dave Bautista. He's working in like a restaurant and like flipping burgers. Mm-hmm. He's like an ex sort of I think he's an ex-military guy, because he's approached by I wasn't even sure who the Tanaka character was really, but I had to look up, and he's sort of just meant to be a businessman, like billionaire. I was like, what's his actual role? But yeah, he offers Dave Bautista a job basically of breaking in, like going into Vegas, breaking breaking into a casino and then stealing about $50 million from the vault.
200 million.
Oh, 200 million.
Yeah, 200 million.
Stealing
He's going to get 50 million.
Right, yeah. Stealing $200 million from a vault. So yeah, he has to assemble a team, break into Vegas. Very sort of simple plot.
Yeah. So yeah, I was really excited before I watched this. Like, there were so many things that could have been explored, I think, and could have been given time that weren't given time.
Right.
In the end, but I was really excited. Basically, I was pumped for this film.
Yeah.
I don't really rate Snyder's superhero films that much, but as I've grown up, I've definitely become less of a superhero film kind of guy, unless it's something like The Watchmen, where it's a lot darker, and it's a lot more kind of, I suppose, comic book-esque.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember going to cinema and seeing Man of Steel. And yeah, I just remember coming out of that, just really that was basically just 2.5 hours of just, mindless destruction.
That is one of the big criticisms people give of him.
Yeah, and that works for 300 and Watchmen when they've been sort of adapted from those graphic novels. So their style is almost already established before. He just needs to put a live action spin on it. He's
definitely someone who is better at adapting things than writing his own things. He wrote Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
And it shows the script. The script. The actors. A lot of the actors aren't bad. There's a few dodgy.
Quite a few of them are lesser known, I think.
Yeah, they're mostly lesser known, really.
Yeah,
or even none of them are A-list celebrities, are they? But it's the script that lets them down, though, I think, rather than their acting or their them not having as much experience. So.
Yeah.
It's not too late to go back.
If you're gonna play the game, you gotta learn.
It's like a prequel in the making as well, and an animated series coming out as well.
I was so annoyed at the end of the film. Zack, fuck you. I wanted to watch a film, not a 2.5 hour advert for an animated series. I was genuinely pissed. I was like, you give me no closure on the fucking spoilers, robot zombies. You give me no closure on the billionaire man. You give me no closure on where these fucking zombies have come from. Area 51. Yeah, what are they, aliens? Are they what? I didn't want to watch an advert for an animated series that I'm not going to watch because the film didn't get me in. You can't, after 2.5 hours, you can't leave me hanging on all of those things. That's rude. That is rude, Zack. You need to think about your morals and your principles.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see where he takes the franchise.
We fucking won't see, because I'm not watching another one right now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see you later on in the year for Army of Thieves.
Is that what it's called?
Prequel. Yeah.
Okay.
Army of the Thieves.
I'll get another bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, but no, there's quite a few things that a few payoffs that I was annoyed that didn't come out in the end. So we got to see the zombie tiger. Obviously rip apart that guy's face, which was great.
Yeah, good bit of gore. There's not enough actual good gore to it either. That him getting his head crunched. Good gore. The rest is Hollywood gore.
A lot of it's in the a lot of it's like that. A lot of it's sort of animated sort of gore. Yeah, and a lot of it's in the very intro, the credits when they're sort of in the intro. When they're all in Vegas, escaping the first time or whatever.
I feel that credit sequence at the beginning, that got me in. Because Dawn of the Dead has the same kind of swing music. They do get down with the sickness, but they do it swing version. You know what I mean?
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and it's fucking cool.
Richard Cheese, I think is his name.
Yeah,
the swing sort of covers.
Yes, yeah, very cool. And you get a cool montage of stuff.
Yeah.
This starts with that cool montage of stuff and the swing music, and I was like, Schneider coming back at me once again. This is going to be good. I'm really into this. And the opening montage is a trick.
Yeah.
It has all the gore, all the cool shots, and some boobs. So everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm into this film. And then the film just like wanders around, not really
Yeah.
knowing what it wants to be.
Yeah, one thing that pissed me off was the so obviously Mr. Blank from Sorry to Bother You is in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the main guy with the circular blade at the
Oh
start.
yeah. Sorry, I did remember that.
Yeah.
You just threw me there.
So he in the intro. In the intro credit scene, he's seen with that circular blade chopping up. Like, everyone's got their own like distinct weapons.
never fucking
like,
uses it.
Exactly, yeah. We never see it again. He like teases it when they're all doing that sort of prep before they go in, and then that's it. He's got a gun for the rest of the film.
And Coyote uses it to chop through the wall. The
yeah,
lady.
exactly. Yeah, that's the only time it was used. Like,
Fucking useless.
yeah, that's. But back to the tiger.
Yeah.
It's got a bit sidetracked then.
Yeah, sorry.
The tiger, yeah, it was great seeing the tiger like munch that guy's face.
Yes.
But then the tiger, we didn't see it again. It just died in the nuke. I thought there was going to be a big showdown between Batista and
At least get it at least have it actually fight someone, or just rip it apart with a machine gun, and it like keep coming, and they keep shooting it, and then it keeps coming, they keep shooting it. And
I would have loved a bit like almost like a gladiator type scenario where they got into that the pool where they would where all like sort of dead carcasses.
That would have been amazing.
Like Batista in there, like basically rows and rows of zombies.
Goes
coming
in there
at
to
him.
find his daughter, ends up in the pool. The tiger drops down. He can't get out because it will have like an attack of opportunity and just jump on him.
Yeah.
So he's got to fucking fight it, and
Yeah.
he's got like one grenade left. So he's got to kind of like fight it, shoot it, get away from it, and then blow it up or something.
Finishes the tiger off, and then the main alpha zombie. Then he fights him at the end for like the final sort of showdown, and then obviously that can carry on. I guess how it usually finishes for where they jump on the helicopter. But yeah, like something like that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I think
There was loads of missed opportunities.
definitely
Loads of missed opportunities, which just hurt me a little. I was like, why? Like, yeah, if this had been a comic book beforehand that he had adapted, it would have been fucking wicked. Because it would have had all these cool, bits that like an actual writer had kind of like put time into.
There are a few characters I quite liked. The German safecracker guy. He was quite
great.
funny. He was a massive like sort of German stereotype, kind of like nerdy guy.
Yeah.
So I thought he was quite cool during the movie, and his sort of like he was like bouncing off of I forget his name, Mr. Blank in Sorry to Bother You. Just call him Mr. Blank.
Yeah.
He was like bouncing off of him quite a lot throughout the movie, which is quite cool.
That's one of the only character arcs in the film is that they're not friends and then they become friends.
Yeah.
At 1 hour 40, we get a fist bump from them. Which is them like actually solidifying the fact that they're friends now because they've been through this kind of hard ordeal.
He leaves him hanging like at the start, doesn't he?
But yeah, the German character, great. I love the fact that he just lives to crack safes.
Yeah, and the name of that safe is I think a composer.
It's one of his overtures or whatever, like final bits of opera or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah, and it plays like a few of those songs like in the build up when he's trying to crack it, and when he finally cracks it towards the end, that starts playing again, which is cool.
Yeah, that's like one of the most creative things in the film.
Yeah, and yeah, I actually quite liked the even though the vault scene went on for quite a while. I thought there were some of those elements that were quite cool. How they were like bringing the zombies down and like.
I love that sequence.
That was pretty.
That was great. Putting the zombie on the pressure plates and walking towards the thing.
Yeah.
Him getting shot. That was great. That was the only bit of it that felt like a heist movie. That actually felt like a heist movie.
Yeah.
There's a goddamn zombie tiger. That's crossing the line.
Oh, so the tiger. They modelled that on a tiger at a Big Cat Rescue, which is Carol Baskin's tiger place. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
From the Joe Exotic Netflix show. Yeah, they modelled it on there, like the movements.
So it's actually a killer tiger.
It's a legit killer tiger.
Probably eaten people before.
Yeah. That was cool how they did some of the movements of the tiger with a person, like a stunt guy. Who, see.
You had a man in a green screen suit jumping on cars and moving around like a cat and lying down. Very, very funny.
Yeah,
very funny.
That's cool.
So Dawn of the Dead is, in my top 2 probably zombie films.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking good. It really spoiled this film for me because I was expecting so much more of this film. Like, even down to the zombie design.
Mm-hmm.
In Dawn of the Dead, it's so simple.
Yeah.
The zombies look like, fucked up decomposing people. In Army of the Dead, they look like a Dungeons and Dragons caricature of a zombie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes with the colourful sort of tone of like the whole film. It is very like sort of splashy, comic booky.
Yes.
It's not as like he hasn't reined it in as much as the Dawn of the Dead, which is, I guess a remake and
Very
sort
more
of in
realistic.
Yeah, and almost like in style to the old one as well. Maybe a few changes, especially with like the speed of the zombies, but
it's quite different from the original.
That's very dated and like better budget. Yeah,
it's pretty hilarious now.
Yeah,
but it's quite a similar film in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But yeah, even in Dawn of the Dead, you have fast zombies and slow zombies with no reasoning between it. Doesn't need to be. It's an unknown.
Yeah.
This is a cool thing, that having unknown, I think, in things like this is okay as long as you don't put big plot points hinging on them. Like fucking robot zombies. Why are they fucking robot zombies, man?
Yeah, I was wondering, are they robot zombies or are they just like, is something happened to them, they're affected?
They're robot zombies.
Yeah.
So when
Does
I
it
saw
establish that at all? Does it mention?
It doesn't. So the whole film, it has robot zombies in it like 3 to 4 times more. If you know at the beginning of the film and are looking for them, you could pick out more. These robot zombies are never addressed, not once in the film. Mm-hmm. No one speaks about them, no one says anything about them. They're never addressed. They're only on screen for like half a second most of the time. Like someone's face gets shot off, you see a bit of Terminator like metal underneath.
Schneider had his priorities elsewhere.
I think he just stretched himself too thin. He
Maybe,
wrote it. He was trying to film it.
Yeah, he was involved a lot of the filming. Like he's a director of photography by trade.
Yeah.
And he spent a lot of this film involved in the actual sort of shooting as well.
Yeah. He was behind the camera a lot of the time, I think.
He was, yeah. And he even got sort of old sort of Canon lenses. From decades ago,
that's very cool.
You got them refitted so they could be used as like a sort of proper, cinema like kind of film camera.
See, that's why he is a cool person, because he's so very passionate. Like he knows what he likes.
Yeah.
But I think when you're trying to write a film, be behind the camera, give direction, like really. I've seen things of him like actually being in with the actor and being like, this is how you're going to do it. Like, this is exactly how you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, going back to the cameras,
that's very cool.
I think they only use like a few different they use like 3 different lenses for this. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like mixed feeling about how it was shot, because I think it did distract me a bit, the sort of shallow depth of field. That it's all, because a lot of it, when you have like a main person in the foreground and someone in the background, when it's focused on the foreground, they're just so blurred in the background. That kind of I did sort of like bug me a bit, and I just couldn't really. And that's like obviously the style, and that's what he wanted, and that's fair enough. But I guess I would have liked a few more sort of like shots where the majority or a lot of it is in focus. Mm-hmm. It just felt a bit sort of wish-washy sort of thing. Yeah,
100%. And to tack on to your point there, foreground in focus, crowd behind, even very close, even a couple of meters away, very blurry, like very pronounced in the film. The only places where the shots aren't like that is when it's big CG shots of the whole of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's a very stark contrast that again doesn't necessarily gel for me. Only thinking about it afterwards did I kind of realise that.
Yeah.
That's where the things were so different.
Yeah.
That's where the cinematography was very different. Was when he wasn't actually shooting it, because it's so personal the way he shot it, and then the other bits are computer generated. So obviously he has a lot to do with that as well, but. Then it's not him shooting it.
Yeah, I thought the way they did Vegas was cool. How they like mapped it all. So they like in the sort of production or pre-production, they like a team of them went in and then took like a million shots of Vegas from all different angles, from bird's eye to throughout the city, and properly mapped it out, so they could then put it in the computer and then get like a proper 3D, like almost CAD like
Very cool.
drawing of the whole thing. And then they used that, and then they were able to use sort of the placement of all the landmarks of where everything was, and then they incorporated that into the sort of background green screen shot. So where they'd have like the when they were in like the refugee camp, that was obviously all on in a set, and then they could just put a green screen up, and they could have like their placement in the city like sort of consistent throughout. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so we both separately watched the documentary on the making of it. Genuinely enjoyed that more than the film. like no shade, no shit kind of thing. I'm not like trying to like put the film down or anything, but it was really interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many cool techniques they used to film this film. Like a lot of really cool experimental stuff that they did. And it looks like it was a lot of fun to make this film.
Definitely.
Like everyone had a good time. Zack Snyder on set all the time, very charismatic, making everyone have fun kind of thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast.
Yeah, really looked cool. Like so many cool choices, so many cool technology, utilizing of different technology to make this a reality kind of thing.
Yeah,
that
mapping
was,
all the zombie movements as well. It was really, really fascinating.
So cool. Kind of like green screen suits, but now it's all in the suit. So normally you'd have kind of camera dots put on you that a camera would pick up.
Yeah.
And that's how you would do movement tracking.
Yeah.
But now you can have it all within a suit with a battery pack, so that you can just take it anywhere. You don't have to be in shot. You can climb over things, go behind things.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
The two sort of main zombies that we see, so the Queen and the other one. I don't really know what their background is, but I assume they're sort of like gymnasts or like some like performance.
They're very
artists
athletic in their performances.
Yeah, or dancers or something. Because I thought they gave a pretty cool performance.
Yeah,
it was quite
the Queen,
it was quite
especially.
scatty. Yeah, with all her movements like over the crawling over the cars. It's quite cool. I thought.
Yeah, very reminiscent of the Witch from Left 4 Dead series of games. She's basically that kind of character, and she'll fuck you up, but she's very kind of thin and moves in a very kind of odd, unhuman way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And runs kind of like that with her arms behind her back. It's like she
really
did a little
distorted.
bit of a Naruto run when she ran off screen.
Like a very contortionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The alphas were an interesting idea, which I kind of was more down on once I remembered that Land of the Dead existed. And was like, oh, it's not really a new idea. This is Land of the Dead's.
Like sort of smarter zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
a
like different
smarter
layers.
zombie who's teaching the other zombies something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a really cool premise. And I was like, oh no, wait, Land of the Dead already did that and did it in a more silly way.
Yeah.
That kind of, you know, if this film had been more like Land of the Dead, I'd been more into it. If
I was actually, it reminds me of, so in the book of I Am Legend, not the Will Smith film adaptation, but the book, they're more sort of like vampires, I guess, but they're
it's very similar though.
Yeah, in the film they're more like just mindless sort of creatures, but in the book they sort of like they speak and they sort of plot.
Wow.
So I think
Very
maybe
cool.
a bit more like maybe the zombies having a bit of dialogue might have been quite cool. Not like, you know, just outright speaking all the time, but just
or showing that communication of concepts a bit more.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't dialogue based. Even if it was just kind of grunting and movement, but you actually seeing that happen.
Yeah.
That could have been really exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
So one of the reasons I was so excited for this film, because I love Schneider's first offering to the zombie genre, Dawn of the Dead. And one of my favourite films of all time, is Escape from New York, which, if you don't know, New York has been walled off. The president's plane has gone down inside New York, and New York is just a lawless prison island now, just full of like reprobates, criminals. So it's very similar to this film. So you have a walled off area, walled off city in America, where no one goes anymore, where the army can't go, the police can't go. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
You have something in the walled off city that you need. The president, his plane has gone down. We need to get the president back. and then you have someone sent in to this lawless place to get the person, get out. So this film is basically Escape from New York by Zack Snyder with zombies, who does one of my favourite zombie films of all time. Snyder even references, he's like, this film's basically Escape from New York. The fact that he knows that, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like my favourite film ever. This is made for me. This is made for Zack Snyder zombie fans who want a film like Escape from New York with some Ocean's 11 elements in it. And yeah, it does not hold a candle to fucking Escape from New York or Dawn of the Dead, in my opinion.
Like, how does that, what?
You'd agree that this film isn't as good as Dawn of the Dead, surely?
No, it's less like focused.
Way less focused.
And that's one of the, I thought the issues was, for example, the subplot with finding the girl's mum. Like that didn't really go anywhere. So they didn't really need that at all. I guess it was a way of bringing his daughter along for the journey, but it was just unnecessary, I felt. I guess the logic in it is the daughter works at the sort of camp, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a volunteer. She's humanitarian. We're
yeah.
supposed to like her. The actress doesn't do a good job at being likable. Batista tells her, if you screw around and go looking for the lady without us coming with you, people are gonna die. She goes looking for the lady without the team, gets the whole team killed. She fucking gets the whole team killed. And then we're supposed to like her at the end when she's the only one that survives. Are we? You haven't done anything to make us like her.
Not just her, but the French lady with the short sort of blonde hair.
Coyote.
Yeah. And Mr. Tanaka's right hand man who goes with them. There's this bit where they go out of the casino. And then they stumble across the queen and the other zombie.
Yeah.
And then that whole thing happens when she's made it clear at the start that there's a deal here. They've offered that guard up so there wouldn't be any of this confrontation. And then that just plays out. I thought it was just a bit out of nowhere.
This is the kind of thing that makes, from doing my own writing and stuff, these are the kind of things that make things feel like characters are being puppeteered. When motivation isn't given justice, basically, when you don't give someone's motivation full kind of scope to the audience, and it's just not recognizable as real actions, and it just makes things feel like they're being puppeted. Oh, now you're going to do this. Now you're going to do this.
Yeah, you couldn't see there why the decisions were made really from the characters.
No. So I was just kind of sitting there like, who is this film for?
It's for people with Netflix subscriptions.
yeah, it's for people with Netflix subscriptions, because everyone will watch it because it's the number one thing in the UK today.
Yeah, I mean, everyone it's so many people going to watch it because it's obviously advertised as this sort of mishmash of all these genres. Yeah, like zombie, action, and heist. And generally speaking, I did quite enjoy it. You can pick all the flaws out of it, but as a sort of just fun, mindless film, I think it did for me anyway. It did tick quite a few boxes in that respect. I wasn't trying to too much compare it to anything else. Just sort of went in there with a sort of blank mindset. Just. And visually, how it sort of all plays out and everything I thought it was quite a fun flick. Probably not much more than that. Don't have a massive urge to see it again. Maybe in a few years if I've forgotten it, sort of film. But
no, I definitely. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I wouldn't think. Not.
I'm done with this shit.
Not in a way to shit on it at all, but just it's so simple and it's so overproduced but underdeveloped that there is nothing for me to come back for. There's no subversive bits that I could be it would be interesting to know that from the beginning and see that, because say the robot zombie thing, if that had been a thing, then it would have been cool to go back and look for all the robot zombies and see this invisible kind of plot line that you only get afterwards.
Would you recommend it to your nan?
I definitely wouldn't recommend it to my nan. I don't know if I'd recommend it to anyone. I
hate it that much?
I didn't hate it that much. When it finished, I looked at Emma and I was 6 out of 10. And I wrote that at the end of my notes. Today, saw on IMDb that IMDb gives it a 6.1. So, it just hasn't got anything to excite me to the point that I would ever recommend it to someone.
Like mention-worthy sort of thing.
Yeah, the only thing that it has going for it, in my opinion, is that it's easily accessible. It's on Netflix. I'd be like,
Yeah.
if you want a 2.5 hour kind of action film, kind of zombie film, barely a heist film, mindless experience to get drunk with, then watch this film.
Yeah.
But I don't know, who would you recommend this film to?
I'd still recommend it to people that are like a fan of zombie films, but just go in saying that it's not true traditional George A. Romero zombie, but
No.
it's just I guess it's just a fun sort of like action flick heist with zombies in, really, and lots of gore, because it doesn't take itself seriously. It's got stereotypical sort of characters, so it's got all these tropes from different genres.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go in for it with like a sort of, don't expect too much, just fun flick, really.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I suppose if you went in knowing it's a 6 out of 10, knowing that it's not going to be anything special, maybe you might have a better time with it.
Yeah.
Because you're maybe with a group of mates, you're having a drink, you're not necessarily like hanging on the characters everywhere, you're making jokes and you're chatting and making silly jokes about the film.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a good kind of mystery science theatre 3000 type experience where you're just chatting shit over the film because it's silly.
We like it very much.
Yeah.
It might be a good candidate for that kind of viewing experience, I suppose.
Yeah, and I guess with those kind of films where it is just sort of like mindless action and gore and there's not an awful lot to it, maybe it would have been a better watch in the cinema, perhaps.
Yeah, but if it had the get Schneider the fuck out of here cut, like, and send in Joss Whedon and let him like reshoot some stuff, put in some lame jokes and stuff, then I might have been more up for seeing it in the cinema.
Star-Lord coming in.
Yeah, and that might be an unpopular hot take, but I don't think it will be remembered as one of his great films, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I suppose IMDb is already giving us a taster of it not necessarily being that.
Yeah.
Although, you know what I mean, I don't put much weight in IMDb ratings.
Decide for yourself, kids. Decide for yourself.
Know when to walk the road, know when to run. You never count your money.
So that was our review of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. All helps the channel. And we'll see you next time.
Oh, wow.